Something just shook the car industry to its core. Not a software update, not a new EV, but a machine so powerful, so outrageous, it shouldn't even exist in 2025. In a world racing towards silent motors and digital dashboards, one company did the unthinkable. General Motors didn't follow the trend. They challenged it. While the industry buried combustion and crowned electricity king, GM dug deeper. And what they pulled out isn't just an engine, it's a warning shot. 1,000 plus horsepower, 10.35 liters of unfiltered mechanical chaos. No batteries, no charging cables, just raw power that laughs in the face of eco-friendly. And at the center of it all, the CEO who stared down the future and pulled the trigger. If you think this is just another V8, you're not ready for what's coming. Hit like, smash subscribe, and get ready, because this engine might just end the electric revolution before it even begins. Because while Ford pours billions into electrifying the Mustang, while Mercedes phases out internal combustion entirely, and while Hyundai and Volkswagen chase battery tech like it's the new oil, GM walked the other way. They promised to go fully electric too. They even built an entire Ultium platform, designed new EV models like the Cadillac Lyriq and the Silverado EV, and made public vows to end gasoline forever. So why, after all of that, would they suddenly build the most violent combustion engine they've ever created? Something doesn't add up. You don't invest tens of billions into electrification, only to pivot back to gasoline unless you've seen something terrifying. Because while the headlines scream about the EV revolution, the cracks are growing faster than the charge times. Charging infrastructure is falling apart once you leave major cities. Stations offline, networks congested, wait times growing, and batteries, they're not the miracle they were sold to be. The raw materials are locked behind geopolitical tension, environmental backlash, and child labor allegations. Lithium's not clean, it's just exported guilt. Prices haven't dropped, they've gone up. The average EV still costs over $50,000. And even with federal tax credits, most people can't touch them. Add insurance premiums, rising repair costs, and a fragile supply chain that can be shattered by a shipping delay in Shanghai. And suddenly that clean, simple EV future looks a lot messier. Even Tesla is bleeding, margins collapsing, demand cooling, Cybertruck delays, price slashes just to stay competitive. And while Elon tweets through it, GM is doing something far more dangerous, staying silent and building something no one can ignore. Because this engine isn't just a product. It's a signal, a warning shot, a monstrous mechanical rebuttal to the electric future. And it's not just louder than a Tesla. It's speaking a different language entirely. GM didn't just stop at words. They put their money where their mouth is, unveiling what might be the most audacious internal combustion engine the world has seen in decades, the ZZ632 on 1000, a naturally aspirated 10.35-liter V8. So raw, so unfiltered, it smashes every modern trend in automotive engineering and leaves it in the dust. No turbos, no hybrid gimmicks, no electric motors quietly helping it out. This is pure mechanical fury, a roaring beast that drinks regular pump gas and breathes fire with every turn of its forged crankshaft. Over 1,004 horsepower, 876 pound-feet of torque. Numbers that sound like hyperbole until you feel that surge, that visceral punch that no battery ever delivers. What makes this engine truly terrifying isn't just its size or brute force, it's the engineering behind it. GM's engineers built this monster with symmetrical port architecture. That means airflow isn't just forced through, it's balanced, optimized, crafted for peak efficiency and durability. Every cubic inch screams precision, designed to breathe as freely at 7,000 RPM as it does idling in your garage. Inside GM's walls, this engine isn't just another project, it's the ultimate combustion engine. The last greatest hurrah of an era they refuse to surrender without a fight. But why now? Why reveal such a beast amid the frenzy of electric revolutions and government bans? It's not just about power, it's about strategy. GM is playing a dangerous game of hedge and disrupt. On one side, billions pour into EV factories, Ultium batteries, and electric pickups. On the other, they're lighting up the crate engine market with a monster that racers, modifiers, and die-hard enthusiasts can't resist. This engine is a psychological sledgehammer. It's a statement. Combustion still thrills. Combustion still rules hearts. And it's a direct challenge to the growing EV backlash. A way to reconnect with drivers who feel alienated by silent, sterile electric cars. Rumors swirl around Detroit that this engine isn't just a crate motor for aftermarket builds. Whispers say GM may drop it into a final edition Camaro, a last gas-fueled salute before the EV era tries to erase muscle cars forever. If true, that Camaro won't just be a collector's item. It'll be a cultural event, a middle finger to the electric revolutionaries. But the Z632 isn't just brute strength. It's advanced tech wrapped in classic muscle. The engine's heart is a cast iron block paired with aluminum heads. A marriage of old-school durability and modern weight-saving tactics. Forged pistons and a forged crankshaft like you'd find in a racing engine promise not just power, but endurance under the most brutal conditions. Balanced air-flow design means combustion happens smoother and longer, reducing stress and increasing longevity. No battery needed, no hours lost at a charging station. No fragile software glitches, just instant unfiltered performance. And in the battle between throttle response and thermal management, this V8 leaves many electric supercars gasping. EVs suffer from thermal throttling, heat buildup, that forces software to limit power to protect the battery. This engine, it keeps screaming lap after lap, street after street. This engine isn't just a relic, it's a weapon. A relentless performer built for a world that's rapidly forgetting how to love raw power. GM isn't just selling horsepower, they're selling rebellion. Rebellion against regulation, against the shrinking freedom of choice, against the sanitization of the driving experience, against a future dictated by battery shortages and charging deserts. This is a wake-up call to the industry. The combustion engine refuses to die quietly. It's adapting, evolving, and fighting back on GM's terms. In a market flooded with electric promises, the Z632-1000 screams authenticity. It reminds the world that power isn't just numbers on a screen. It's the visceral roar, the shifting gears, the exhaust crackle that makes your chest vibrate. And while governments draw lines in the sand, automakers chase emissions credits, and consumers debate the right technology, GM has created an escape hatch, a loophole that keeps the engine alive in garages, tracks, and the hearts of those who crave the thrill of gasoline-fueled speed. This dual-track approach, mass electrification paired with extreme combustion, gives GM a resilience that few others possess. They're ready to pivot based on market demand, regulation changes, and consumer rebellion. And as the EV world stumbles on supply chain woes and infrastructure failures, GM's brute force V8 stands ready. Not as a step back, but as a hammer to break the status quo. Electric may be the future, but it doesn't feel like it. There's no rumble in your chest, no mechanical symphony under your foot, no rebellion in a silent glide. And that's exactly where GM strikes, because this isn't just an engine. This is a cultural weapon. EVs, sure, they're quick, but they're clinical. Point A to B without a heartbeat. They whisper in a language that many never asked to learn. No shifting, no vibration, no soul, just talk maps and software updates. GM's 1035-liter V8 doesn't just resist that future, it mocks it. This engine doesn't whisper, it roars, snarls, and kicks. It doesn't glide, it launches with fury. It doesn't need to convince you with data. It pulls you in with feeling. For decades, driving was about connection between man and machine, between road and revs. And now, that connection has been reduced to screens and silence. But this V8, it rips that silence in half because GM knows something the EV crowd doesn't want to admit. Performance is not just numbers. It's noise, feedback, tension, and triumph. This isn't a play for the masses. It's not designed to sip fuel or meet quotas. It's raw and wasteful and glorious. And that's exactly the point. It's a machine for the few who still believe driving is an experience, not an algorithm. It's a counterpunch to the sanitized future we're being sold. Because maybe the world will go all electric. But before it does, GM wants to remind everyone what we're leaving behind. And it's doing it on purpose. This V8 is not mass-produced. It's not bolted into factory sedans. It's a crate engine delivered in a steel box to those who know how to wield it. Tuners, builders, racers, outlaws, the ones who don't ask permission before lighting up a back road. And that's the brilliance of it. Because low-volume crate engines, they slip through the cracks. No EV mandates, no mass market regulations, no dependency on rare earth metals or overseas battery suppliers. Just gasoline, grit, and gears. It's not illegal. It's not reckless. It's targeted surgical defiance. GM isn't breaking the rules. It's bending them to perfection. In an era where your car reports your speed, limits your throttle, and begs for software updates, GM just handed you a mechanical sledgehammer and walked away. And make no mistake, this isn't some last-ditch tantrum. This is legacy flexing its muscle. Because GM isn't just reacting, it's reminding. This company built the performance culture. It invented the electric starter in 1912 when people were still hand-cranking their cars. It gave us the small block V8 in 1955, the engine that defined American muscle. It unleashed the Camaro SS, the Pontiac GTO, the Corvette ZR1. It didn't follow trends, it created icons. That same DNA pulses through this 1035-liter monstrosity. It's not a copy of the past, it's an evolution. Bigger, louder, more aggressive. It's GM saying, you want a clean future? Fine, but we'll go down swinging with 1,004 horses at 7,000 RPM. This isn't about practicality. It's about mythology. It's about what a car feels like when you stomp the pedal and the world blurs. It's about the kind of machine that makes your neighbors hate you and your soul love you. That's not nostalgia. That's power. And power, GM knows, never goes out of style, because even in a world of wind tunnels and efficiency charts, people still gather at drag strips. They still tune engines in garages. They still measure value in decibels and tire smoke. And GM just handed them the ultimate weapon. So while others scale back, play safe, and whisper into the future, GM throws open the throttle and bellows into the night because someone had to remind the world driving wasn't meant to be quiet. The roar from GM's 1035-liter V8 isn't just rattling engines. It's shaking the entire industry to its core. Suddenly, automakers who thought combustion was yesterday's news are reconsidering their moves. The market is shifting faster than predicted, and the old rules don't seem to apply anymore. Ford's latest Mustang Dark Horse and the brutal GT500 keep proving there's still massive appetite for internal combustion performance. Those growls and snarls aren't just nostalgia, they are demand, and it's echoing louder across boardrooms. Even Toyota, a company famously cautious about electrification, is reportedly reevaluating its commitment. Hybrid systems, advanced internal combustion tech, maybe even new ICE platforms could make a comeback if the EV revolution stumbles. GM's V8 has set a new bar, a performance benchmark that doesn't come with software patches or range anxiety. It's raw, consistent, and brutally simple. No batteries to charge, no expensive replacements looming on the horizon. Now, other brands face a brutal choice. Keep racing blindly toward an all-electric future that still feels uncertain, or pivot, diversify, and embrace a multi-path approach like GM, because the old combustion engine isn't just surviving, it's evolving and taking on a whole new meaning. Tesla's Plaid and the Lucid Air dazzle with instant acceleration and jaw-dropping specs, but it's a sprint. Those bursts of speed fade as thermal throttling kicks in, limiting performance to protect expensive batteries. The thrill is intense but fleeting. GM's 10.35-liter V8 offers something different. Consistent, repeatable mechanical power that lasts lap after lap, mile after mile. It's a beast that doesn't tire. A relentless force unchained from fragile electronics or cooling systems. And it's modifiable. The opposite of closed-box EV systems that leave owners locked out of the engine's soul. This is a power plant you can tune, tweak, and make your own. This engine challenges what we even mean by performance. It's not just about 0 to 60 or top speed. It's about sensation. The feeling of connection through fire and steel. The drama of raw torque ripping through the pavement. The intoxicating rush of control. For many drivers, these sensations are priceless. They question the cold promise of battery life and whisper of a thrill lost in the switch to electric. And GM just put those doubts into overdrive. But what about the climate? The looming shadow over every automotive decision. GM's approach is deliberate. The ZZ632 isn't a mass-market commuter engine. It's a limited run for collectors, racers, and enthusiasts, a niche carved out within a broader commitment to carbon neutrality. They're not denying the climate challenge. They're acknowledging it, but with nuance. The combustion engine isn't gone. It's targeted, refined, and purposeful. GM is running a dual-track strategy. EVs for everyday drivers, combustion for the passionate few who demand soul and sound. This flexible roadmap positions GM to adapt no matter what the future throws at them. Regulations, market shifts, or technological breakthroughs. The industry watches closely, forced to question long-held beliefs. Do they double down on EVs exclusively? Or do they follow GM's lead and embrace a diversified future where combustion and electric coexist, pushing each other to new heights? GM's Monster V8 isn't just an engine. It's a challenge, a wake-up call, a statement that the future isn't one-dimensional. It's a call for choice, for passion, for engines that speak to the heart, not just the spreadsheet. And as the automotive world recalibrates, one thing is clear. The battle between electric and combustion is far from over. It's evolving, becoming more complex, more nuanced, and more exciting than anyone predicted. So, what side will the industry choose? The clean, quiet promise of electric or the roaring, relentless spirit of combustion? GM's answer is loud and clear, and it's shaking the foundations of the car world. If this engine just flipped your view of the future, smash that like button. Send this to every EV diehard, every gearhead, and every skeptic you know. Subscribe now, because the next chapter of automotive history is coming fast and it's louder than ever. And hey, drop your verdict in the comments. Are we witnessing combustion's final roar or its ultimate revenge? We'll be watching closely.